Welcome to the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Listen and grow as Del questions the status quo, encourages you to think differently, and empowers you to make a better life. Get ready as Del challenges core beliefs, seeks the truth, and reveals the roadmap to the lifestyle you really want. And now your host, multi-millionaire, national award-winning investor, CEO and founder of Lifestyles Unlimited, Del Walmsley.
Welcome to the Del Walmsley Radio Show, where the hype ends and the help begins. I'm your host, Del Walmsley, and as always, we're working on your financial freedom. Today is Tell Del Tuesday, and I've got a guest today that I'm really excited to share with you because he is one of my mentors. And the thing I like about him is, besides the fact that he's a mentor and he's gone through as a member and done what he's done, is his demeanor. I like, his bio. He's stated in there that he lives a simple life. That's kind of the way I see myself. There are those people out there that want to go take over the whole world, and they want to hustle for the rest of their life and go out and kill and eat and kill and eat for the ever and ever and ever, and there's never enough and they're never happy. And then there's guys like us who just want to get up to this level of success that allows us to live happily ever after. And having said that, let me introduce Robert Hale out of San Antonio. Robert, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Del. Appreciate that.
Did I mischaracterize your aggressive personality?
No, sir. You got me, man. I'm pretty simple.
Yeah.
I've really appreciated the fact that Lifestyles has helped me get to where I am, and we've been financially free because of the program. And we don't live in a big fancy house, and we don't do a lot of fancy stuff, but we just enjoy the time that we have, and we're fairly satisfied with where we're at. So.
Well, let's start at the beginning. You had a corporate career like everybody else in this world. Tell us about that and when and where in that career you decided something else needed to happen.
Yeah, so I was in oil and gas. I was an engineer by degree, and had worked myself up to a pretty decent level as a regional manager for an international oil corporation. And I got to a point that, as a young guy starting out, and I work in the field a lot with my hands and solving problems and working with the guys and all that kind of good stuff, and it was a lot of fun. And as you kind of get up into the corporate ladder, you get away from that, and you kind of work in the corporate job, and things get a little bit more, I would say people compete, for capital and things like that. And so the environment changes a little bit. It's a little less, solving problems with your hands and helping your friends get, fix things and things like that, to more of, board meetings and corporate struggles and things like that. And so I heard a guy on the radio, just like we're talking today, and he was talking about how, if you lost your job or whatnot, how long would it take for you to consume your savings? And at that point in my career, I was pretty frustrated with just the environment. And I thought, well, man, this guy's talking to me at the right time. So we ended up joining up in 2016, and, we retired by 2018 with our real estate income exceeding our expenses. Worked for another year and just completely retired from corporate America in 2019.
Excellent. Let's talk about, how did you find us? You said it was on the radio. Did you come in for a free workshop? I'm just trying to get your path.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I heard him on the radio and came in for, I think it was like a lunchtime workshop there in San Antonio. And then I signed up for that FFP program, which is our weekend program. I went to it here in San Antonio. And then my wife and I went to another 2-day in Austin, and we joined up then, and we were in our first couple deals within the first couple months. I mean, we were aggressive in starting that path.
When you took the 2-day for the first time, now that you've been a mentor for a while, it's probably hard to remember back to what struck you. But if you can, share with us, what was the aha moment when you were listening in the 2-day that just went, bam, that's it. That's what I've been missing. That's the secret.
It's funny because it seems like a lot of people have the same mindset as they go into it. It seems like that's too good to be true. I'm working through the single family stuff. I'm like, man, it's amazing. I can't believe that you can do this. And I had like zero real estate experience still. I was in oil and gas, so the only experience I had in real estate was when I transferred, and the company would sell my house and I'd buy a new house, and I had nothing. And so to be able to see that, it was very simple, the process that was laid out, from a math standpoint, it was very simple for me specifically, but just the process was real simple. And I thought, man, it's not real. And so then when the second day came around and I was able to see, what can be done with multifamily, that was really the aha moment for me, because I never thought that people could, just normal folks could own an apartment community or get together to buy apartment community. I just thought that was like big corporations and whatnot. So the concept of even owning apartments was amazing to me. And then the ability to, create that community and, be able to help other people retire yourself in a short period of time. And just the financial gains that potentially could be had on those. It was incredible. Like I said, it seemed like it was too good to be true, but we went to the Austin one, and I was talking with a guy that had been in the program for, 5 or 6 years, and he was telling us about how many deals he had. And I said, hey, how many deals do you have that don't make what they said they're going to make? And he had 20-something deals. And he said, we've only had one that hadn't met pro forma. And at that point, man, I was sold. I was like, forget it, we're in it. If it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. But we've been, it's been a great ride for us for sure all the way through.
So when you started, did you start as a passive or did you start as a IRO or a lead?
No, we started as passive. Yeah, we had a good corporate income and we had some capital to start with. So we got into 2 deals within like 2 months. And we joined in February. By April, we were in 2 deals. They closed in June. We saw distributions coming. And at that point, it was just game on. We see it. Yeah, it's working. We're going through case studies. We're seeing all these different people. It's somebody different every time, giving a story that's very similar to us. It hits a lot of different people. But by following the map that you guys put together, all these people are able to be successful. So we put in 4 deals total for 2016.
Robert, let's talk about the point where you decided to do your first deal. Did you do it as an IRO or did you do it as a lead investor? No,
we did it as a lead investor. So, with Amber being home, she had some time to be able to help kind of run that. And then my job, I wasn't in the field as much. I was, pretty much in a corner office, and I had a lot of time that I could, break away if I wasn't in a meeting and make phone calls. And even the property that we bought was really close to our office and our house. So lunchtimes we'd spend down there, Fridays we'd spend down there. And so, yeah, that first one was it was a smaller property. It was 48 units, which isn't real small, but we were able to have staff and whatnot that came over with the property as well. So it was a pretty easy transition, really. So
tell us about the property and the deal. What did you like about the property when you first saw it, and what did you see that you wanted to do with it?
What I loved about it was a newer, relatively newer property. It was not too far from downtown San Antonio, like near the Alamo Dome. It was a 1995 build. It was all 2 bedrooms, which was really nice, and they were all the same floor plan. So everything was very standard on it. It had an office and it had a maintenance and manager that stayed with the property. So the day-to-day operations were handled by some staff, and the location was good. And we got it at a decent entry price. My mentor at the time, Doug Crummell, that was a huge thing for me. Just as a member, somebody getting started, you're super nervous. You don't know what you don't know, and my mentor was able to walk that property with me and help me understand, what the potential risk were and whatnot, and it really helped me get through that process. So we bought it in 2018, April. Yeah, not too long ago. Yeah, April of 2018. We sold it in December of 2022, and we made some really good returns for everybody that was involved. Through that process, it was really cool too, because the prior owner had taken good care of it, but they hadn't really upgraded much, so we had an opportunity to do a lot of interior upgrades. And then community functions, that was amazing for us because we were able to do some simple things with, snow cones on certain days or pizza parties and things like that for the residents. And they really, really did appreciate that. And it helped to form that sense of community that, made us proud to be able to say that we owned and operated that property. So it was a great experience for sure.
What amount of money did you pay for this property? What was the price of the property?
It was $2.9 million whenever we bought it.
And how much money cash did you need to bring to the deal between you and your partners?
$951. 2.6 though. I'm sorry, I said 2.9. It was 2.6.
Okay, 2.6, and we've got about $1 million in it, 900 and some thousand. And let's walk that forward then. When you sold it 4 years later, what did you sell it for?
We sold it for $4 million.
2.6 to $4 million. That's quite a bit of a gain there. Let's see.
It was great. And we had a refi in 2 years where we were able to pull out 50% of the money that we had initially put in it. And it cash flowed the whole time.
You got half the capital in the middle of the deal and half the capital at the end on the gain, so that's good. I'm just trying to figure this out right now. I've got $4 million from 2.6. You said do something you're not supposed to do on the radio, which is math.
Well, that's okay. I can tell you because
go ahead. Tell me what rate of return was that?
It was 155% to the passive investor over basically 4 years.
Great deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
all
and
right,
that doesn't include the initial capital they put in, right? So we don't include that in our estimate there. And like I said, the property cash flowed, 8% on average every month, even through COVID. It was just a very nice property, nice to own. Not that it didn't have its struggles; everything had its struggles, but it was certainly worth the effort.
So, folks, what Robert just did was he just clarified something that most people would not have to clarify, but because he's a mentor, he runs into people that are just starting this and don't really know what they're doing. And so be careful when you hear people say, what did we return to the partners? Because you've got your money invested, let's say $100,000, and you're earning 8% a year on the cash flow situation here. And then at the end, you make 150%. Some people will try to tell you that's 250% returned. Now, listen to the word. We returned 250%. No, you had a return of 150% plus the 8%. And, you can add those up and divide by years and come up with an internal rate of return. But the bottom line is, I wanted you to understand what he was qualifying there. Because as a mentor, Robert, you run into that where people don't understand that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the returns that we can make are tremendous regardless, But I think it's important that people understand you're getting that return on top of the initial capital that you put in. And that really, it's an outstanding way to achieve financial freedom while improving communities. It's just like a win-win-win. It's a wonderful industry to be in.
So the easiest way to explain it, I think, for the lay person out there who's not been into any of this stuff, is say if you invested $100,000, you made 8% on that, which would be $8,000 a year in cash flow. Then at the end, 4 years later, they sold it. You will get a check back for the $100,000 you invested plus another 150% return. So you'd get $250,000 back. That pretty much makes sense with what you're saying, Robert?
Yep.
Okay, great. So this one was a good one. How long into this one before you decided to do the second one, or did you wait for this one to be done before you did the second one?
No, we continue to passively invest, and we invest passively more than we do lead deals. We're not, we're not speedy buyers. Matter of fact, we just closed on our fourth deal here this week, and closed on the sale of our second deal last week or week before. But it was about a year and a half. Just short of a year and a half from the time we purchased that one in 2018 to we purchased our second one in 2019.
So before you went on to your second one, I assume the first one was already stabilized.
Yes, sir. It was stable whenever we bought it. It was a great buy. The property was 97% occupied when we bought it. And I think during our ownership, sometime right after COVID, the lowest occupancy we ever saw was like 89%. So, and that would be like a month out of maybe 2 or 3 months out of the ownership of that. Most of the time, I think the average occupancy of that was 94% during our ownership.
Sounds like a great deal. Also, it sounds like it's a yield play as opposed to a value play, so we'll explain that when we come back. We'll take a short break, be right back with Robert Hale and the Del Walmsley Radio Show.
Teaching you with a roadmap to creating the lifestyle you really want. Keep listening. The Del Walmsley Radio Show returns in moments.
Want to retire in 5 years or less? You can do it, just like Lifestyles Unlimited member Lisa.
So we started passively. It was on vacation is when we realized we really need to take the plunge and be more active in this. Just because I'm an educator, I wanted to really know what I was doing. So it was just education on my part is really big and knowledge. And I'm like, well, I could do that.
Go to GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. Enter code 2024. Join and learn for just $297 with Lifestyles Unlimited.
You're hearing the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Want more life-changing knowledge? Access our podcast and listen on demand at lifestylesunlimited.com under the radio tab. Now your host, Del Walmsley.
Welcome back to the Del Walmsley Radio Show. With me here today on Tell Del Tuesday is Robert Hale, a member out of San Antonio, who is also a mentor for us. And we were going over some of the deals that he's done as we went to break. And Robert, the next deal you did, this Hawks Landing deal, was 102 units. After doing 48, having good success with it, you felt comfortable doubling the number of units?
Yeah, the good thing about Hawks Landing was it was another property that was, a newer build. It was 1997. So the owner that had that was a bigger owner, and they had maintained it fairly well. And the thing about the 100 units, in my opinion, is that really has the scale that you can have full-time staff on property and be able to spread that throughout your financials instead of, 48 unit is kind of small for full-time staff, but 100 units will fit full-time staff. And like I said, it was a great property. It had been operating well, and I wasn't overly concerned. The thing that would concern me about that property was that it was far from the house. So once we bought that property, we fully retired from our corporate job and just made operating real estate our full-time job at that point.
All right, now we come to a story here that I've never heard this story, so I'm stepping into what could be muddy waters here. But I see that the next deal that you did, I see like three things I don't like about it from the very beginning, and so everybody has to go through a learning curve. Let's talk about this next deal. First of all, it's 100 units, but it's built in 1948, so you've got age against you. You purchased it in October of 2020, which is, right when COVID was a problem. To me, what was this occupancy? 11% occupied when you bought it. I mean, we talked about two great yield plays. And then you dove off the plank into a value play, a just total disaster. Tell us what you learned from this and how it worked out. And, I have no idea if it worked out well or bad, but just let's hear this story because this has got to be a good one.
Yeah, absolutely. So that property was, like you said, 100 units, and it was primarily vacant. I only had 11 folks whenever we took it over. But we bought it at a good price, though. We bought it at a little over $20,000 a door. And so that, we put in $20,000 a door on it. So all in, $40,000 a door. And so there was a lot of opportunity to make some real good returns on that project. It ended up being a little tougher than what we expected, but not because of the property or anything like that, but because of the big snowmageddon that came through. And we had within just, so we bought it in October. So within like 3 months, we had all the roofs replaced, all the wood rot painting done. We had 50% of the interiors to the point that they were, in final make-ready stage. And in doing that, of course, we had the kitchens and the baths, hot water heaters, all that stuff in. And when the freeze hit, it hit pretty hard. And even though a lot of those buildings were vacant, we had the water off, there was some residual waters in the line that ended up causing a lot of plumbing issues. So where we had a lot of the work already done, we had to start over and rip out bathrooms and kitchens and all that kind of good stuff. So that was the main difficulty on that project specifically, was just that weather event that hit us from a timing standpoint. We were, like I said, we had about 50% of the units almost ready to move in, stab meters, and go, and then we had to start over. And of course, plumbers at that point were picking the jobs that they wanted to do, and they weren't necessarily coming out to that project to work on that one. So it kind of took us a little while to get through it. But we came out good overall. I mean, we sold it. We did a refi. We did a refi within 22 months and gave everybody 100% of their money back. So that was a good achievement to have. And then we just finished selling it. So we bought it, like the property in San Antonio, we sold that top of the market, and then the property in Corpus, we're kind of selling at the lower end of the market. And so we were able to return everybody's money plus another 100%. So it was a double your money event. Could have been better, but interest rates being what they are and prices being what they are, wasn't as good as it could have been. So
I think what saved you in this, hearing the story now for the first time, is that you bought it for the right price. That's one of my pet peeves, right, is people pay too much for stuff. They let the sell person convince them that you should pay what the seller wants instead of what the deal's actually worth. So buying at $20,000 a door, you bought the package at the right price, allowed for it to work, to be able to get out the other side and still have 100% gain during what I think was probably the toughest, 2 years of real estate investing. I think it was really like 21, 22, maybe even 23 now because of people coming through this, which is something we'll get to in a second. We'll come back to that. What was the next one you did, this Fredericksburg deal? When was that and where was that at?
We just closed that day before yesterday, so 5 o'clock on the 9th is when we closed that one, and that's in Fredericksburg, Texas. And that was a nicer property. It'll be more of a yield play, 1998 build, great looking property. So
now that brings me to what I was going to go back to, but let's go ahead and go back to it, and that is the marketplace. The prices got way too high. As a mentor, this in 2023 when it peaked, maybe 2022 when it peaked, wherever it peaked at in there, prices were ridiculous and the deals didn't make any sense. Then all of a sudden the Fed realizes that the inflation was so high from all of this buying, pent-up buying, and, where they've driven the prices up so high on everything, including real estate, to where it was way too high. The Fed said, we got to shut this down, and they started raising interest rates. So a lot of people got caught in adjustable rate mortgages, which, by the way, I told everybody not to go into. So a lot of people got in these deals with the adjustable rate mortgages. Also at that time, the taxes and insurance had gone up. We had massive insurance increase. Because of all the hurricanes out in the Gulf and, actually even the East Coast, all the way across. So think about this a little bit and share with us, since you've been a mentor, what is it that you've learned about people that you could share with people out there right now that would help them? Because, a lot of people sitting back there, they're kicking the tire, they're listening. I have people say, I've listened to you for 2 months, 2 years, 10 years, and they're kicking the tire. What have you learned about the people to finally take action? What does it take to get them going? Well,
I think first of all, I'm a mentor, but I also have mentors, right? And so for me as a mentor and as a member, I rely heavily on my mentors, my offers, consultants. We have just a tremendous amount of resources that are here to help folks get started. But, as a mentor, the thing that I see that folks have struggled with the most is just that getting that first deal. They're scared about where they should buy. They're scared about, what to buy. And so they, they're anxious about getting started and how to get started and if they can be successful. And, the message that I give to them is absolutely you can be successful. You follow the map. Give me a call. Let's talk about what you got going. Let's, call your operation consultant. There's plenty of resources here that if I was successful, I'm not different than anybody else. I didn't have real estate experience when I got started. Go to the case studies. See all these guys that have been successful, and how they do it, they follow the map. They talk to their mentors, they follow the map, and they were able to be successful too. The other side of it is that you get folks that are a little too excited to get into deals, and sometimes they want to do things that might not be the best for them. And so I do enjoy mentoring folks like that to try to help them to realize kind of risks that they may have to undertake as they take on that first deal, and hopefully kind of slow them down, because we don't want anybody to get in a deal where they're going to get themselves in a bind. It's not like a dire straits type opportunity. There's plenty of opportunities out there, so you need to find the one that's right for you.
So when you work with people, how do you deal with them? Is it email? Is it phone calls? Is it both? You go out and look at properties? What do you do with the members?
Yeah, for sure. So, I take a lot of phone calls, and I take them anytime. I don't mind picking up the phone to help somebody out. Like I said before, I enjoy helping people. I like to help them with whatever their challenges are. I like to see people smile. I get a lot out of that, and I've really appreciated the opportunity to be a mentor because of, the ability to do that and to help change people's lives for the positive. So it's been a wonderful experience for me. But just in general, as a mentor, folks will come in, they'll have a deal. We'll sit down, talk about what the deal is. Does it make sense for them? and look at their underwriting, see if it makes sense from a underwriting standpoint and if it even is worth pursuing. And then once they do decide they want to pursue it, really the thing that I love doing the most is for new guys that are starting to be able to go out and walk those properties with them and help them to see some things that they might not be able to see just as they're getting started. I kind of think of myself as like a trail leader. So, in scouting, I was a scout leader for a while, and I've been to the top of that hill, and it's a beautiful, beautiful view. But we got to make sure that we stay away from this specific trail, or we need to make sure that we're ready for these types of things. And you're helping lead folks up a path that you've already been up to. And, it's a little bit scary for the first time that somebody's been up that path. But once you get up there and you see the view, it's certainly worth it. But you got to make sure that you follow the advice and take the trails that, we recommend. Otherwise, you could find yourself getting in a little bit of a hazard.
So how long have you been a mentor now?
It was 2020, Dale. It was right at COVID, April of 2020 whenever I started. So it's been 4 years now.
COVID. Will we ever live this down? Let's talk about this for a second here. Have you had the benefit yet of helping somebody through a deal that completed?
Yes, absolutely. And I've been able to help several members that have called me up and told me, hey, man, 2 days ago I gave my retirement notice. And I tell you, that's an amazing feeling right there to be able to hear somebody, say that they've done something that is going to completely change their life for the better. And you've had some kind of positive impact on that. It's amazing.
The reason I ask that question is because myself, I've been doing this for years. As much as, we all like having our own success, mostly because it's financial, but it's anticlimactic after enough period of time. You've done it and done it again, I've been doing it for 34 years. But every time a brand new person gives me that call or sends me that email, hey, man, I did it. I'm out. That really fulfills me. And so that's why I asked you that, if you've had that luck, had the benefit of that feeling yet.
Yeah, it's amazing. It is. And I get a lot out of just, like I said, helping the new guys whenever I walk a property with them and they tell you, hey, that really was helpful. We're doing what we can to help people. And for somebody to, acknowledge that and say, yeah, that made a big difference in my decision or whatnot, that means a lot. But there's nothing like getting that call, about somebody that had just put in their retirement because they've been able to achieve what you guys have, you set for us, the path that you've taken us to. And for me to be able to help them along that way, that's an amazing feeling for sure. I
got 1 minute left and short answer, but I've got to understand this. On your goals for the future, you put down two that I don't understand. One was I want a small ranch, and the other one was I want a house with a larger lot to spend time. Why not live on the ranch?
Well, yeah, that may be possible if we can find a little land that's nearby that we could move out to. We're actually looking at some land not too far from us, about an hour and a half. But the thought is I guess we could build on a place if it's close enough, but I need to be close enough also where I can, I'm here in San Antonio. I want to be able to get to help members. And so I'd like to be, closer to where I can support folks too. So
I got you. All right. That explains it to me. A lot of mentors, a lot of the people here at Lifestyles have ranches and or land that they like to get away to. I basically have my land right here at my house, so I get to it every single day. So I understand that. Well, hey, thanks for coming on today. Thank you more for being a mentor. And the rest of you out there, remember this. Whether it's myself, it's Robert, or any of us normal people, it's not the money, it's the lifestyle. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.
The information and opinions you hear on the Del Walmsley radio show are those of the host, Del Walmsley, his guests, and his callers. The Del Walmsley show is for entertainment purposes only. Please consult a professional regarding your personal investment needs. Nothing presented on the Del Walmsley show constitutes an endorsement, recommendation, offer, or solicitation to buy or sell any product or security.